Last video I made fun of non-car guy habits. Here are 5 car guy habits that I hate, especially at car meets. So, first and foremost, this is a very obvious one, but I'm gonna say it again because people still do it, and that's touching cars. Now, I will add a new spin on this by saying like what I found to be the most common reason why people do this. So, the number one excuse I hear from people after I catch them touching my car, or a lot of my friends also get this excuse, is they immediately look at you and they're like, "Oh bro, I was just checking if it was real carbon." That's why they touch cars. Like, if you have carbon fiber on your car these days, bro, you will always come back to it with just fingerprints all over it. That happens literally at every single meet, which is why you have to stand next to your car, and it kind of sucks because you want to walk around too. But like, look, carbon fiber has so much clear coat on modern cars these days that you cannot feel the weave. I can run my fingers down my car's hood and its roof, which are both authentic carbon fiber proven by Chevy. Like, actually are the same thing with like modern Ferrari 488 Pistas and modern Lamborghini Aventadors. I've had the luxury of touching both of those cars in person. You don't feel it. It's smooth. It's just perfectly nice glossy sheen to them because they're coated in clear coat. And that's a good thing. Manufacturers realized, wait a second, if we don't protect these from UV, the carbon gets all yellowy gray. Anyone who's had carbon fiber for like 3 or 5 years, who parks their car outside and didn't have it clear coated, knows the consequences of it. So like, imagine for collectors especially who buy supercars and keep these cars for 10, even 15 years, yeah, they don't want their carbon getting all yellow and gray, so understandably it's got a lot of clear coat on it. And get this, if you do feel the weave, vinyl companies, especially with the ones that do the 3000 thread specifically, they can mimic the weave as a fake carbon fiber wrap. So the touch test does not work anymore. It is totally inexcusable to have your hands on someone's carbon. As the owner of the car, like as the actual owner of a car of carbon fiber, I do not care about feeling the weave, because even if I didn't have the clear coat, how often do I just like pat my car's roof like it's a freaking dog? Like, hey Leone, you've been a good car. Head pat time. Like, moo to. Like, it's no, I'm not just gonna randomly just head pat my car like it's a puppy. So I don't benefit from it not being clear coated and having the pride of knowing I can feel the weave. Yeah, I gotta run my fingers through. We're gonna move on from this topic before it gets super weird. But the point I'm trying to say is this is not a good excuse for you to touch someone's car. Please stop, because it's no longer a determining factor anyways. Fake carbon can now mimic the weave. Authentic carbon now has so much clear coat that you're not going to feel the weave. It literally does not matter. Don't touch your cars. It's not yours. Another person that I really despise, and I'm sure y'all despise this too, rude photographers. 90% of photographers are good. Y'all know that. Come on, if you're part of the good percentage, you don't get mad. You should know this isn't about you. Let me explain, alright? Dial it back, alright? Okay, so what I'm talking about, rude photographers, are the people that are literally pushing and shoving people and are yelling at people, get out of the way, bro, get on my shot, I'm professional, and they have like 1,000 followers on Instagram, and apparently that makes them a professional photographer who has the right to yell at people. Look, everyone who's attending a meet, you know, we should be valued equally. We're all attendees, especially for some shows where you have to pay to be there. Like, we're all paying guests, we're all paying customers. Like, dude, you're not more important than us. I don't care how many subscribers you have, how many followers you have. That doesn't give you the right to push people, yell at them, move out of your way, and get out of your shot. If it's a big meet, take what you can get, alright? Usually people are decently respectful where when they see your lens out, they won't photobomb you or walk in front of you. Be polite. Being polite goes so much further than being rude. I've had people who, like, I see them and they're like, hey, I really like your car and all the cars next to it. I want to get the whole line. Can you please, I really like your guys' cars. I want to take a nice photo. Like, can y'all just stand a bit just for a few seconds? I'm like, yo, I'll move out of your way just for a few seconds. I'm so glad you asked. I'm okay with it because it doesn't come as a shock. It's not rude to me. I know they want to have fun too because I'm here to meet to have fun. When you're nice about things, people understand, all right? Another car meet habit I hate is when you're stunting at the meet, and I do not mean with cars. I'm talking about people on skateboards, on BMX bikes, and even on like small like Groms, like motorcycles like with smaller engines, or dirt bikes or whatnot. Look, I used to be a skater myself. I quit about 4 years ago. The best trick I could do was a tray flip, and if that even. Most of the time I failed it and ended up only going 180, and it looked like a Vero kickflip. And I'm not sure if people still hate Vero kickflips. That's how out of the loop I am, because back when I was skating, if you did a Vero kickflip, people hated you. You would get thrown out of the skate park. People would chase you out. That's how much they hated it. But like, if you're doing that at a meet, do that at the park. I don't care about your sick line here, because if you want to ride your skateboard, if you want to ride your bicycle, if you want to ride your Grom even, just kind of putt through the meet, bro, I'm okay with that. I'm okay, everyone else is okay. Because I know like a lot of younger enthusiasts who don't even have cars yet, they literally ride their bike all the way from home. They'll come like, I've seen people who bike like 12 miles to and back, like 6 miles there and 6 miles back. I'm like, damn, you're dedicated. But they're respectful, they're just chilling. Like if you just ride those things, it's all right. I just don't want you doing your line, especially for BMX bikes. I'm honestly more scared of them because they have pegs. And I've seen one guy, he tail whipped his BMX bike trying to be cool, doing tricks and whatnot, and it smashed right into someone's headlight. And I was like, really? Really? Like the peg on the back wheel just smashed right into the headlight. And like, here's the reality. If you're doing tricks at these meets, there are way too many people for you to pull off your line. Like I literally hear skaters be like, yo, move out of the way, bro. And they're like, I'm looking over and they're like freaking like nose manualing and then like switching over to fakie and doing like all these stupid tricks. I'm like, dude, I don't care about your stupid line. I really don't. No one does. They're not entitled to move out of your way. Next time I see people do this, I'll probably just stand still like a cement brick or even reach my arms out and clothesline them because I'm legitimately sick of it. Not just because they're putting people's lives in danger, but because they are literally surrounded by millions of dollars worth of cars. Even if it's not an exotic meet, if it's like a tuner meet, that's still hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cars. They're Mark IV Supers that are built to the moon. There are nice skylines there. Even someone who has like a crap box Honda Civic that's their starter car, bro, he loves that car. That's his first car. He poured his heart and soul in that car. He better not go home later that night with damage on his car because your stupid butt wants to do a line, because that's just disrespectful. So it's just an expensive mistake waiting to happen, whether it's a medical bill from you running into someone or it's an insurance bill from you running into someone's car. Parking terribly. This is another habit that I absolutely despise. First and foremost, never steal someone's spot. Do not take up more than one spot, and especially do not block people from leaving. This sounds like common sense to people who've never driven, but once you start driving, the one thing you'll learn is that people, for some reason, the hardest concept to grasp is still parking. I know people who master highway etiquette before they master parking, and people will go their entire lives actually never knowing how to not park like a douchebag. In most cases, like most hosts will usually reserve spots in the showcase for VIPs. When those spots are reserved, don't go up to them. Don't just start moving those cones or moving those VIP signs and be like, yeah, I can take this. It's empty. Everywhere else is filled, but I can take this. No, you can't. I guarantee you, every time I've seen this happen, that person gets awkwardly escorted out by security and their car is, it's like the walk of shame, or rather the drive of shame, as their car is slowly being just basically shoved out of the meet and everyone's pointing and laughing at them. And they deserve to point and laugh at you, because if you're dumb enough to try to take a VIP spot, what you asked for it. Like, all right, look, the second thing is, if you do not find a parking spot, do not make a parking spot. I don't like it when I come back and I see someone park like this in front of me. This happens not just to me, but to a lot of people, where people will lock you in from leaving. They'll just be like, oh, well, I couldn't find a spot. I'm just gonna park in front of other cars. First off, you're literally in the way of other people, like of pedestrians and other cars entering and going. You're in the lane of traffic. You're not in a parking spot. You're in an actual moving lane. So if your car gets hit, if it gets damaged, bro, I don't even feel sorry for you. You deserved it for parking in a moving lane. The only time you should do this is A, if it's a big enough lot, B, if the host gives you permission, and C, the most important one, is you know the person you just locked in. If you came as a group or you're good friends with them and you're gonna leave around the same time for dinner later, this is okay, because you're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna leave when they leave, so I'm not locking them in then, because by the time you move, they'll move too. But if it's literally someone you don't know, and this happens a lot in Atlanta, unfortunately, I never had this problem in Indy, and sometimes when we had crowded lots in Indy, like I said, we only did this to friends, and we only did this when we got permission to. Because if you do this to a stranger, they literally cannot leave now. They're just stuck until you come back and leave, and that's so entitled. The final annoying habit that I think a lot of car guys still do to this day, that I think is actually being done more today due to the prevalence of information from the video games and also from the internet, and that's being a know-it-all. I've included this in my past videos, but I don't think I've quite drilled it home. I know you're excited. I know you want to share your knowledge, and at the end of the day at car meets, we're all nerds. We're all just dorks who love cars. That's cool, alright? But not everyone knows everything about every car. Like tuners they'll know more about tuners. Muscle will know more about muscle, understandably. I'll give you an example of my past. I remember we were looking at a Lamborghini. I was around 17. This is one of the first big meets I went to that had supercars. I was with strangers. Like, you just see some people at meets, you park next to them because you have similar cars. I was next to just a whole bunch of Sentra owners, and we walked around together. And we looked at a Lamborghini, and the guy's like, yo, I love this lime green. It's such a sick color. And I was like, oh, actually, it's called Verde Ithaca. And they all kind of just gave, like, they threw me the look. And if you're a teenager, you know exactly when people throw you this look in high school. And I had that happen to 17-year-old me, where I just kind of looked at them. They looked at me like, really, bro? And I was like, oh. If you're about to talk at a car meet and you're starting with actually, that's the first word you're going to start with, bro, I'm sorry, I'm walking away. I'm sorry, bro, no cap, I'm walking away. I don't want to hear the rest of it because it's just not fun being corrected, even if you are right. And I know a lot of video games give people so much knowledge these days. Like, you can look up exact paint codes for cars and Need for Speed. I had people defending that in the comment sections, like, Bladed, I'm just excited, I just want to share my knowledge. Or the worst defense is when people are like, Bladed, some people don't deserve to own their cars because they don't know as much about it as I do. Knowing more about someone's car does not mean you deserve it. I used to think that's how it worked when I was 16 and 17. I was like, man, this old guy doesn't know anything about his Aventador. Oh, I deserve to have it in my garage. Watch their life, watch their struggle, watch them put in extra hours in at work, taking overtime, losing time with family, sacrificing time hanging out, saving all that money so they could buy that Aventador. Yeah, you sacrificed? No, the f*** you didn't. When I finally grew up and realized that myself, that, yo, buying supercars is expensive, you have to put in so much work, you have to save in so much money, you have to sacrifice a lot of lifestyle choices. I wear cheap clothes. I don't go see the movies, well, obviously because of quarantine right now, but even, you know, not counting quarantine, I barely hung out. I saved so much money by making so many lifestyle changes that ironically felt like it took part of my childhood away, but it was worth it to regain it back with the car community experience I've had by owning my Corvette Z06. You know, now obviously it's pretty rare for a freaking 20-something-year-old to have a Z06, especially buying it with his own money, but that doesn't happen magically. You make so many sacrifices. I don't care how much you can Google better than the guy who sits in the Aventador. There's a reason why he's sitting in the Aventador. He gave up something in his life, or he put in extra effort. All those hours you put in Forza mean nothing compared to the amount of stuff he had to do in real life to get that car. So being a grocery getter Googler, being a know-it-all, does not entitle you to think that, oh, I know more about the car than them, so therefore I get to correct them about it, and I should be the one who owns it. Dude, get that out of here. You don't know the struggle some of these supercar owners have been through. Like, I know some people who, like, I had to correct a Gouda owner the other day because he didn't even know his own engine was actually an Audi engine. But this is a guy I was friends with for several months before I brought that up with him because very natural occurring. So one day, one of my other buddies who owns an Audi R8 V10 parked next to him. And the Audi R8 V10 owner is just like, yo, bro, we got the same car. And like the Lambo owner, he didn't get it. It literally flew over his head. And that's what I told him. I was like, hey, did you know that your V10, your Gallardo, is basically the same as the V10 in his R8? And that's when he was like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I never knew that. And I know someone is cringing right now in the comment section. It's like, he doesn't deserve that Gallardo. He didn't even know that. That dude was so busy grinding, he doesn't have the time to look up interesting facts like that. He just made the money to buy the car. That doesn't make them a hateful person, all right? It's different when your parents buy someone a car. That's pretty entitled. But when someone makes their own money to buy the car, understandably, they're not spending all their time on Google looking up facts. They're spending all their time working hard at work. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here and you like cars and car content, make sure to subscribe and check out my other videos. Other than that, see y'all next time. Blade Angel out.